Hey everyone. So, if you've ever felt like your brain is this super powerful engine, but it came with absolutely no steering wheel, then you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to dive into a practical guide for adult ADHD. And this isn't about fixing your brain, not at all. It's about learning how to work with its unique wiring.
So let's just start with a pretty provocative question right off the bat. What if the name attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is just, well, wrong? What if the real problem isn't about a lack of attention at all, but something else entirely?
This idea from Dr. Russell Barkley, who is one of the world's leading experts on this, completely reframes the entire problem. He says ADHD isn't a problem of knowing what to do. Most of us know what we need to do. It's a problem of doing what you know. He calls it an attention deficit disorder. You've got the intention, for sure, but that bridge between wanting to do it and actually doing it, that's where the struggle really lies. So, what is causing that huge gap between our intentions and our actions? Well, the answer is in what scientists call our executive functions. Think of these as the management system, the CEO of your brain. And for folks with ADHD, that management system just happens to be running on a totally different operating system. And these are the big ones, the core skills we're talking about. Things like self-restraint, not blurting things out, or your brain's short-term memory. It's kind of like the RAM on your computer. And then there's the internal engine for getting yourself motivated and actually planning things out. These are the very functions that help you organize, prioritize, and, well, get stuff done. Now, a huge consequence of all this is something called time blindness. And if you've ever thought, oh, this is a 5-minute task, and then looked up an hour later, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not a character flaw, it's not a personal failing, it's a core neurological feature of the ADHD brain. But here is the good news. Understanding the problem is the absolute first step to actually solving it. So let's jump into our first real solution, learning how to hack your own perception of time.
The very first step is simple. It's just about building awareness. Try this little experiment for a couple of days. Before you start any task, just jot down how long you think it's going to take. Then actually time yourself. That gap between your guess and the reality, it can be really eye-opening. And that's the key to making more realistic plans down the road.
Okay, here's a really powerful tool for managing your focus, the Pomodoro technique. By breaking your work down into these small 25-minute chunks separated by short breaks, you're basically creating an external structure for yourself. That little kitchen timer, it becomes your best friend, your ally, helping you stay on task and fight that huge, powerful urge to procrastinate. So just like an external timer can help us manage time, an external system can help manage our memory. I mean, if your brain's working memory is a bit unreliable, the solution isn't to just try harder. It's to offload the work. So let's talk about building what some people call an external brain. I mean, just look at the difference here. Your brain's working memory is temporary, it's easily distracted, and let's be honest, it's pretty prone to forgetting things. But an external system, whether it's a notebook or an app on your phone, that's permanent, it's reliable, and it's organized. The whole goal here is to stop using your head as a filing cabinet and move everything into a system you can actually trust. So how do you actually build this thing? Well, the Getting Things Done, or GTD method, is a fantastic blueprint. It sounds complex, but it's really a simple 5-step process. You capture every single task and idea, you process and organize them, and then you just do the work, feeling confident that nothing is falling through the cracks. All right, so beyond time and tasks, there is another huge piece of this puzzle, and that is our emotions. Things like emotional impulsivity, having really low frustration tolerance or being quick to anger, that is a core part of the ADHD experience that honestly just doesn't get talked about enough. And I mean, get this, studies show that up to 86%, that's a huge number, 86% of adults with ADHD report having significant problems with emotional control. So if you have ever felt like your emotions go from 0 to 60 in a split second, I promise you, you are absolutely not alone. So what do you do about that 0 to 60 emotional spike? The RAIN technique is this really powerful mindfulness tool for creating a pause button. First, you just recognize the feeling. Then you accept it's there without judging yourself for it. Then you investigate it with a little curiosity. And here's the most critical part. You non-identify with it. The big insight here, you have feelings, you are not your feelings. Look, all these hacks we've talked about for time, for tasks, for emotions, they are incredibly powerful. But they only really work when they are built on the most important foundation of all, and that is acceptance.
And I really want to pause on this for a second because this is so, so important. ADHD is a valid, well-researched neurodevelopmental disorder. It's literally how your brain is wired. It is not, and it never, ever was, your fault. Ultimately, once you understand the operating system that you're running on, you can finally stop fighting it. You can start building a life that's actually designed for it. The goal isn't to fix your brain. It's to finally start asking the right question. Now that you know all this, how are you going to choose to work with your brain instead of against it?